Thank you, Madam Speaker, ma'am. My question is directed to the Minister of Primary and Secondary Education. The rise or the mushrooming of emerging private schools in most urban areas of Zimbabwe seems to create an elite tier of education that not all citizens can afford, hence sparking debate over equal access to quality education. In light of our mantra of leaving no one behind, what measures is the government putting in place to ensure equal access to quality education in both private and public schools of Zimbabwe?
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, ma'am. I would like to thank Honorable Pijo for the question, where she wants to know government policy regarding equal access to education for everyone. Madam Speaker, ma'am, it is government policy to ensure that we provide quality, equitable, inclusive, and relevant education for every child. That is why we are keen to build as many schools as possible. The fact that there's been a proliferation of several schools in urban areas and rural areas, it's an advantage to the government. As long as the schools are registered, that is what we want. What we do not want are illegal schools. Schools that we may not have access to because they don't exist, but in actual fact, they are just schools that have established without following necessary procedures as stipulated by our laws. And in order to provide equal access for every child, it is, according to the Constitution, Section 75 speaks to every child in Zimbabwe. Child and even adults, they have access to education. And we are providing there are several interventions that we are putting in place to provide equal access to every child. That is why we are distributing computers to the rural areas. They are able to compete with their urban counterparts. We are also distributing Starlink kits to ensure that no place is left behind, to ensure that all the students, regardless of geographical location, are empowered and they would also be able to compete with their counterparts in urban areas. We are distributing textbooks to schools. We have introduced the heritage-based curriculum and we are printing new textbooks which we are distributing to our schools. All those are efforts to ensure equal access to every child. We also have safety nets at our disposal in the form of basic assistance, basic education assistance module, BEAM, where government provides funding to students from marginalized families so that they are not deprived, they are not left behind. All those are efforts we are putting in place to ensure that everyone has equal access to education. We don't mind whether a student is disabled. We have safety measures in place to ensure that we have taken everyone on board and everyone has the opportunity to access education, and that contributes to an improvement in the livelihoods of Zimbabwe's education is an enabler. It has a transformative impact in ensuring that there is economic development and economic growth in Zimbabwe. I submit.
Thank you.
Supplementary, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary, Honorable Pijo.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the Minister for that detailed answer. But I've got a supplementary question. Some of these emerging private schools, especially those in the urban areas, are being criticized for charging high fees without providing adequate learning resources, compared to the traditional private institutions? What is the government doing to enforce its directives, which often conflict with the financial requirements of those private schools? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Minister.
I would like to thank Honorable Pijo for the supplementary question. As government, there are certain procedures that must be followed. Whether it is a private school or a government school, they need to write to the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education to seek permission to be allowed to increase school fees and levies. So if we have information or knowledge of certain private schools that increase school fees without following the law, I'm sure Honorable Jove is prepared to give us the names of those schools, then we can take a corrective action to address the challenges. Thank you.
Supplementary.
Supplementary, Honorable Khatshwayo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, my supplementary question to the Honorable Minister is that one of the reasons or one of the factors that is affecting quality education and access to quality education in our country.
Who are being beneficiaries are not disadvantaged at all. They still access education. I'm aware that some schools are owed some monies dating back to 2 years or so, but we are
have to develop the infrastructure, they have to buy books and all the necessary infrastructure that is needed to ensure quality education. So this is what I'm asking the minister to respond to, which is why beam payments are important to make sure that the quality of the education becomes a reality. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, ma'am, I want to inform the House that some schools in the first term of 2026 have received beam funding, but it's not adequate, and the government will make an effort to make the payments to pay beam funds. But I think the Minister of Finance may want to clarify that point, because they are in charge of the national cake. So with your indulgence, maybe you may allow the Honorable Minister of Finance to respond to the issue of beam funding and as to when they are going to make that payment. Madam Speaker, ma'am.
Honorable Minister of Finance, would you want to add on?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Minister is correct in that when it comes to beam financing, it is administered through the Ministry of Public Service and Social Welfare, paid by the Ministry of Finance. I think we have explained to the House before that there is a bit of a bureaucratic loop in that. I was under the impression that loop had been fixed and the beam payments are up to date. But if they're not, then it means that there's something that is not working. Notwithstanding, the Minister of Secondary Education set up a committee, co-chaired by myself, Deputy Minister of Secondary and Primary Education and Public Service. This standing committee is supposed to keep track of any outstanding payments and issues to do with the three ministries combined. So I'll have to come back on that one, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary, Honorable Malinga.